Hey, what's up guys? This is Technical Tim here, and I want to thank everyone so much who's been liking all my videos and subscribing to the channel. If one of my video previews this week gets 50 likes, the last one's almost there, so if you haven't liked it, go back and like that one, or just like this one. But if one of the videos gets 50 likes this week, I'll go live on Saturday for my first time. I do plan on going live regularly eventually after I get some more subscribers, just so I'm not kind of just talking to a few people. But once I get to like probably 1,000, I'll start going live twice a week. But I'll go live Saturday and give away all my picks for free. And I do have, I'm gonna have some action on this card. But if you've been following along the new format I've been doing about 2 to 4 fights per video now. But this one I'm just gonna do one because I try to keep these videos around like 20 minutes or so, or under that. And this one I have action on, and it's Rose versus Andrade. And I have like a lot of points that I want to get across. So that's why I'm going to actually just only talk about this fight here. And just to get started, I'll tell you who I'm going to be playing. I'm going to be playing Andrade. It's Andrade all day, in my opinion. She's the value side here, and I'll go through and explain why. But I've played like a unit or so on her so far. I got her around like minus 115 to minus 120, right around that range. But I've been waiting because the money has been going in the favor of Rose, and on pay-per-view cards, and the public money comes in a lot, and Rose has a bigger name, so I could see her switching to the favorite. But just in case if like the sharp bettors hit Andrade and keep hitting her and she gets up to like minus 160 or something, I didn't want to miss out on a very good line of around like minus 120 for Andrade. So I figured I'd spray a little bit of action on that and then wait to see if I get a better line. If it ends up going back to Andrade at like minus 130, I'll hit that too and settle with it. But if I can get her like plus 110, that's awesome. I'm not max betting her or anything, but I'll have some action on her. Probably similar to like what I had on Marab and Harris last week. But anyway, let's get to the fight, and I'm gonna be, there's 4 overall themes I want to talk about for this fight. The first one, I can just say it right away, the hometown bias. Andrade is gonna have a significant, the local fighter, especially in Brazil, gets the nod on the judges' scorecards because the Brazil crowd kind of sways them. It's not because the judges are bad people. It's because they're humans, and when they're in a building where a crowd cheers for one person, they'll probably notice that fighter's success more. So, and Andrade has like a crowd-pleasing style, lots of big takedown slams, even though, if you know me, takedown slams don't really do anything. I've slammed people before as a wrestler, and I've been slammed myself. Doesn't really do anything unless if you get slammed on your head. But people will cheer for it, the casual observer, so the casual judges will probably take that into account. And Andrade is generally the one walking forward and swinging big, exciting shots for a female fighter. So the crowd will be cheering a lot, and the judges will probably be noticing that and they'll take that into consideration when they're tallying up after each round. So the hometown bias is absolutely huge here. And so yeah, that's like one thing. I just want to point that out. The next thing I want to point out is the numbers. I know numbers aren't everything. I know stats aren't everything, but they're very helpful, and they can definitely show you something that maybe the eye doesn't always see. So I want to get into that. And I'm going to get into technique and styles, but I just want to point out numbers. That's my second topic here. The first one was hometown. Number 2 will be the numbers. Number 3 will be kind of the style matchup. And then 4 will be more, I'm talking about styles in the striking. And then number 4 will be the grappling. But right now we're on the numbers. And so I just want to show you guys, just in case if you're not familiar, just so if you look at Jessica Andrade, she has insane output. She has 6.58 significant strikes landed per minute, and that's crazy good. So then if you look over at Rose is at 3.72. So Andrade doubles her up overall in their UFC career, and they both have pretty many UFC fights. So you have to adjust. And remember my fight metric video, use fight metric and always adjust. I'm about to adjust and you're going to see what I'm adjusting to. But right now, just like the strikes are really in favor on Andrade. You very rarely get about an even money bet, which we're pretty much getting here on Andrade, when they throw double the output. Also, even though takedown effectiveness isn't really good for fight metric, she also gets a little more takedowns than Rose, but that doesn't mean as much. I'm more focused on that. I'll be talking about the grappling later because I think grappling is more, you have to kind of watch tape to know how that will play out. And that's kind of, grappling is kind of my forte if you guys follow me. But the striking is kind of what I'm focusing on. So then let's look at the strikes absorbed per minute. 5.04 you see on Andrade. You're like, well, she still has a positive striking ratio, so that's good. But then that is a little concerning. It seems like she's super hittable. But is she? So let's look. Against Carolina, she has a huge positive striking differential, almost close to 50%. That was a quick fight though, but the trend was going, and this was ended in one round. The trend is usually Andrade keeps adding volume as the fight goes, so she was probably on her way to outlanding Carolina big time here. Tisha Torres outlanded her pretty huge. She also had a ton of takedowns, a lot of passes. Claudia, like 4 times the amount of strikes. And right here, this is why her strikes absorbed per minute, Andrade, is skewed in a lot. And like I said, use fight metrics, and we are right now. And the numbers are pointing towards Andrade being the more busy fighter. And output matters, guys. It's enormous. Usually, there's a reason why after a bad decision happens or a good decision, people will use the striking totals to justify their picks. It's because usually who's landing the strikes is winning the fight, assuming it's all striking. But right here, so she got outlanded 225 to 83 against Joanna. So not only is this number 83 strikes, like that kind of, because she's capable of landing way more than that, given the right style matchup, and we'll get into styles later. So that probably skewed her strikes landed per minute, which is already insanely high, but she got landed on 225 strikes, guys. So that strikes absorbed is, and this ratio should even be higher. It's just this fight kind of fucked it up. Like the strikes absorbed per minute should be more like, probably like 3. It should be lower. I didn't do the math precisely, like exactly, but it should be much lower. It's this Joanna fight, if you throw that out, it's even better. And you're probably thinking, hey, but that matters because Joanna lost to Rose. So if Rose beat her, well, like she's going to beat Andrade. We'll talk about the styles. We're going to mention that. We're going to talk about that. But just don't be worried about the strikes absorbed per minute. It was against Joanna, who's a nightmare style matchup for Andrade, and I'm going to be talking about that. And you can kind of see this trend. She's always outstriking her opponents, and then if we go to Rose's ratio is like even. She absorbs probably more than Andrade and throws way less because, as we said, that's 3.72 absorbed per minute for Rose, and it's 5.04 for Andrade, but that number is way lower because it was skewed by Joanna. And then if you look at Rose got outstruck by Joanna in this fight. I think this fight was way closer than people think, but I do think Rose probably should have got the nod 3-2, but it was because she was landing the power shots in this, which is kind of what swayed the judges, but she got outlanded here, so please keep that in mind. And that's in a style that's very favorable to her, and I'm going to be talking about the styles later. I'll get to the styles. I just want to focus on the numbers. Here, Rose outlanded Joanna here, but that was a really quick, couple minute knockout, so it's like, whatever. And then Rose versus Michelle Waterson, she did outland her, but then she lost to Carolina, first of all. I'm going to be talking about styles with this fight, but she got outlanded here. Tisha Torres outstruck her. And so you see, like, she'll outstrike people at times, but she'll get outstruck regularly throughout her career. And it makes sense because she doesn't throw all that much, and she absorbs a decent amount of strikes per minute. So the numbers all point that Andrade is going to be the busier fighter here, And if you couple that with the fact that it's in Brazil, she's going to be the round winner here, guys. But now let's dive right into the styles, okay? And I'll just kind of stay on this page. So, I want to point something out. So, rock, paper, scissors. I want to let you know, a lot of people are saying, hey, Joanna beat Andrade, and since Rose beat Joanna, Rose is going to beat Andrade. I hope I didn't fuck that up, but I think you guys know what I'm saying. But the thing is, you always hear styles make fights, and it's very true, but then people will say, hey, but that's true, but she did it through striking. Those were all kind of striking fights, so that means, like, it's the same style. But striking styles are different. Just like a style of fighting is different, a striking style is way different, and I'll get into that. And because styles are so different, you can have this rock, paper, scissors dynamic in MMA. MMA math doesn't always work. So say this is Rose here. Rose is scissors and beats Joanna, who's paper. Joanna's paper, who beats Andrade, who's rock. And then Andrade is rock, who beats Rose, who is scissors. So I just want to kind of point that out, that dynamic can happen, and MMA math doesn't work. And you can also go the other way. You can go the other way. Like, I'm not going to keep bashing Rose, even though I think Andrade is going to beat her. Rose, but like you could say, like, Rose actually lost to Carolina, and Andrade dominated Carolina. So, like, you can't use that same logic with Andrade, then can be able to beat Rose. You have to look at how they're actually going to match up. So I wanted to point that out. But the key thing that I saw here is in Rose's fights, if you look, all these fights, especially like Waterson, Rose is really, really good when she's able to move forward or be at kind of neutral range where neither person is moving forward. She tends to struggle when she's being backed up. And if you watch against Carolina, Carolina walks her down, and it's because, and starts gassing Rose, because it's a lot harder and more tiring to fight moving backwards. But also, Rose, not only is it more tiring, it's harder to actually get your shots off. Rose is made to move forward and strike or stand still and strike. Moving backwards, she doesn't really have a polished game there. So the pressure of Carolina, it's not like a big surprise Carolina won that fight. And a lot of people think that Rose improved a lot, and that's why she beat Joanna, but it wasn't. It's because the same Rose in this fight would have given Joanna issues, and right now Carolina would still give Rose issues. It's just all style. Also against Michelle Waterson, Rose did really well. Go watch those two fights. She dominates Waterson because she's able to move forward a lot and get her strikes off. She's not being backed up. And with Carolina, she's being backed up the entire time, and she's uncomfortable, and she gets landed on really easily. And it's because she doesn't know how to pivot off. She doesn't know how to pivot off and be able to strike going backwards, okay? And then against Joanna, if you watch that fight, and we're going to watch it together, I hope I don't get in trouble by the UFC, but this is on YouTube, their video, and it's free on there, so I think we're allowed to watch it together. But against Joanna, she's never pressured. She's either actually moving forward a little bit, or it's just kind of it's in the middle of the octagon, not behind the black lines, where they're both kind of just like at kind of neutral. Like, neither girl's really advancing much. She'll have people trading off and advancing a little bit, but for the most part, it's like that. And so I'm going to go to that fight right now. And look, I'm just going to actually like pick a random time like in here just to show, like, anytime you go throughout this fight, this dynamic's happening. So I don't even know what happens in this part of the round. I just want to make sure this is actually like not mid-round. So let's watch this together. Look, Rose is not being really backed up at all. They're kind of just in mid-range the entire time. See the black lines here? They don't really back up that way at all. A lot of this fight just takes place, like, you'll see it a little bit here, like kind of right now Rose is advancing, but see how they're kind of like in the middle of the octagon a lot, kind of in between, kind of by the Monster Energy sign in the middle. And look, they're just kind of right in the middle, and Rose is never being backed up here in this sequence. And like, I just picked this by chance, and it's happening right now because most of the fight it plays this way. Rose doesn't get tired doing this, first of all, and she can land her strikes but whenever she gets backed up, and go watch the Carolina fight, I'm not allowed to watch that with you because it's on Fight Pass and it's not free. But in that fight, she is getting pressured and super uncomfortable. But look here, she can play this game with Joanna. If Joanna would have pressured Rose and started getting her in the clinch like Carolina did, I think Joanna could have won this fight. And it was a bad call by their camp to play a perimeter kickboxing match. Because this is where Rose is totally fine. Look, she's totally competitive here. And she ended up winning a very close fight. So I kind of wanted to point that out. So that's what Joanna does, okay? Or that's what Rose does, I'm sorry. Like, that's where she really thrives. She's bad whenever she pressures. So I just wanted to point that out. I'm not going to watch the whole fight, but that's pretty much how that fight goes a lot of the time. And so now I want to talk about Andrade. Andrade pressures you to death, and that's what she's going to do here. And I don't think Rose has the capabilities, if you watch her in that Carolina fight, to be able to do anything about it. And if you watch Andrade, and remember I talked about Joanna earlier, she got dominated by Joanna because Joanna can fight going backwards and Rose can't. It was a complete style thing. So Andrade couldn't beat Joanna because Joanna, and if you watch, she can jab going backwards, she can throw leg kicks going backwards, she can throw straight rights going backwards, and she can pivot off well. So when Andrade is trying to cut her off in the octagon, she can't catch her because Joanna is just able to pivot off. So Rose didn't show that pivoting ability against Carolina, and she just kind of gets overwhelmed by pressure. And I think that's what's going to happen on the feet here. I think Rose can have success early, and anytime she does get to be able to move Andrade back a little bit, which it could happen at some times, but probably like, I would say Andrade is going to be advancing about 80% of the time here. She could have some success, Rose. Like, I think it's possible. But I think overall, this is a bad style matchup for Rose, and she's going to get walked down, and she doesn't know how to fight moving backwards, and she's going to get tired, and the judges are against her. So then the other thing I want to point out is the grappling. This is where I think Rose can have some success. I've seen Andrade actually look a little vulnerable. Which fight was it? So whenever she got taken, first of all, her wrestling's better, Andrade, than Rose. I think she'll be able to take Rose down, and I don't think Rose will get all that many takedowns or be able to hold Andrade down, because Andrade showed really good get-ups here. But the thing I didn't like about Andrade is Rose is a super opportunistic grappler. Like, she'll kind of take your back, or she'll guard sub you or something. And against Claudia, and even against Tisha Torres, Rose kind of it looks like she could be susceptible to some guard subs because she keeps her hands on the mat. But against Claudia, she got taken down one time, and she is a really good wrestler and gave up her back and spring back up. But I could see Rose, which she did against Michelle Waterson, use that short second to kind of maybe opportunistically take Andrade's back and maybe get a submission. So I think Rose is kind of like, I could see her getting a sub here, and that's why I'm not going like ridiculously heavy on Andrade, but I do think Andrade is going to win because I think Rose is just outmatched on the feet because of the pressure style here and because of the judges. And I think the wrestling, Andrade is a much better wrestler, and I think those takedowns will wear on her over time. I do think she's got some opportunistic grappling situations that could benefit her here. But overall, I think Andrade is a good play, and I'm going to be playing a couple units on her, and I think you guys should too. And maybe wait out the line because it could get better, but even right now, Andrade is minus 120, which means her implied probability is 54%, and I put her more in like the 65% range. So I think we're getting a solid 10% edge over the bookies here, and I think Andrade is going to win this fight. But thank you so much for watching this video. That's all I have on this one. But like I said, it's MMA. Rose can still win, but we're playing probabilities here, and Andrade is a better bet. So thanks for listening, guys. I really enjoyed talking to you. Bye.